What if I told you that the origin of vampires isn't in some gloomy European castle, but right here in India? Forget what you've seen in the movies. The story of the first vampires is far older, far more brutal, and it begins in a forest so ancient it's lost to human memory, Dandak Van. This forest wasn't just trees and rivers, it was a world of rakshasas, spirits, and creatures we now call myths. Among them lived the first vampires. Not cursed corpses, but living, breathing predators of the night. Hundreds of them, each with the strength of 100 men. But there was no war, no chaos. Why? Because all of Dandak Van answered to one King Mahabharata, the eternal ruler of the forest. He wasn't just a king, he was the law. Under his rule, a delicate balance was maintained. No one hunted beyond their need. No power was allowed to grow unchecked. Even death itself needed his permission. And in the heart of the king's sacred cave slept his most precious treasure, his child Devata. Then, one moonless night, the unthinkable happened. A lone vampire, whose name is now so feared it's been erased from history, silently crept into that forbidden cave. No alarms sounded, no guardians stirred. As dawn was still a distant promise, the vampire struck, and the innocent blood of Devata spilled onto the cold stone floor. Mahabharata arrived, but he was too late. The sight of his dying son shattered something ancient and powerful within him. There was only one path to save Devata, a path that demanded the ultimate sacrifice, giving up the throne of Dandak itself. Mahabharata made his choice. In a final, desperate act, he transferred all of his power, his curse, and his crown to his dying son. Mahabharata, the eternal king, fell, and Devata lived, but he didn't return as the child he once was. He rose from the brink of death as something new, something terrifying. He rose as Kulbadia. The entire forest felt his transformation instantly. Ancient trees cracked and split open. Rivers violently reversed their flow. The moon itself seemed to darken, as if hiding in shame. Kulbadia's grief twisted into an unstoppable rage. First, his family was taken. Then, his father, his Baba, had sacrificed himself. His heart was now a core of pure vengeance. Standing before every creature in Dandak Van, his voice, no longer that of a child, thundered across the forest before the sun rises. Not a single vampire will remain alive. Panic erupted among the vampires. Their leader, Raikal, an ancient and cunning being, saw the horrifying truth. This wasn't a war they could fight. This was an execution. Kulbadia couldn't be killed. Death itself now bent to his will. That very night, as the screams began to echo, Raikal gathered a handful of his kind. Scatter, he commanded, his voice trembling with a fear he had never known. Flee to different lands, different continents. Never stay together, and never ever return to Dandak. They fled into the darkness, some scrambled over impassable mountains. Others crossed vast oceans on stolen ships. They vanished into deserts, ruins, and the shadows of fledgling human cities. But behind them, the great slaughter had begun. By dawn, Dandak Van was soaked in vampire blood. They screamed as shadows with claws and teeth tore them to pieces. Legends say the forest itself screamed with them, its leaves stained red for a century. The few who escaped carried the curse of their kind to every corner of the globe, and that is why, even today, vampires are found all over the world. But they never ruled together in great kingdoms. They never returned to their ancestral home in India, and they all share a primal fear of one name. Because they know that when the wind howls through the deepest, darkest forests of the world, it's not just the wind, it's a whisper, a timeless warning that carries across millennia. Kulbadia is hunting. Thanks for watching. If you love stories that challenge what you thought you knew, make sure to like and subscribe for more.